Welcome back. How's it going?
Pretty good.
It's day 4, so I hope you're raring to go. It's been interesting to see sort of the flow of everything. Vera just asked a great question. Is the worksheet for day 4 up yet? No, but hopefully you see everything for day 3, day 2, and day 1. Have you been moving along with your Reconnecting Workspaces? Yes? Give me a thumb up if you have.
It has been interesting.
It has been interesting. So I want to put an interesting piece on top of that, Deborah, before we hear what's interesting. So if you haven't gotten quite enough yet, here is the guide companion that's going to go with Reconnecting Workspaces. I've just gotten it off the printer in the last hour, and this will go to press after we do a final round of copy edits. It's due out the end of September, but I have a feeling it will probably come out before then. So exciting.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
I think people will enjoy it because it's a 90-day guide, really a 90-day guide for prompts and focus for individuals. So you might notice I'm in a slightly different background today. I'm in my upstairs co-working space, not in the little phone booth, as we call it. I may go to my phone booth in just a minute, but want to welcome you back for day number 4. And the week is flying, right? So any reflections as we start into today's call? What are your reflections? Maybe I'll go to you, Deborah. Sounds like it's been interesting. So yeah, what were you thinking about as you wrapped up your 5 core areas last night?
Well, I was thinking about the recurring conversation that I've had all week with the different clients that I coach. And I think I mentioned, and I think I put this on Facebook too, that I've been coaching, people one-on-one, but they are all leaders of teams. And so this work that we've done this week has really helped to dimensionalize some things and help me serve them better. But this week, I've had 4 different people that don't know each other in different sectors, different companies, tell me that they are now thinking about leaving because the workload and the stress is just not sustainable and it's starting to take a toll on them.
And I'm not surprised, right?
And the recurring thing is, one of the other recurring things is they have expressed this to their senior leadership and they're not listening. I've had this conversation now 4 times this week.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow.
So what's the message there for you, Deborah? Is it an inquiry, or is there a message here that's percolating?
Well, I think day 1, we talked about the disconnect, right? And I think that the disconnect is probably, well, it's not probably, it's more severe than the senior people think. And that disconnect is really about communication. And I sat in on a webinar that Adweek did yesterday. And one of the things, and they were talking about how to make workplaces more effective moving forward, given our new normal. And one of the agency operations people said, one of the things that they do is they make sure that the senior level people work with, the people sort of down at the ground to really get a real-time feel for what the scope entails and what's going on. And this is one of their strategies for improving retention.
It's interesting as we look across, and then in a few weeks, I'm speaking to a group of like 14 talent development CEOs, they're talent development executives. And I think it is about the connection. It's about the ongoing conversation. Are we leaving time to help people feel connected? Are we building that culture? Are we ensuring that there's space to not only focus on the results, which need to happen, right? The economy needs to keep going, but we do need relationships in order to do that. So I think that's interesting. Today's theme, I haven't shown it yet, but today's theme is the business of teams. So how do you position some of this? I want to get into some dialogue today around like the benefits, but also some of those other components of like, how do you position this then for potentially going in, doing work, building a business case, whether you're internal or external.
Or external, yeah.
Because even internally, we're having to sort of say, listen, we need this, or here's what I think we can do. So we've heard from Deborah. Would love to check in. Peggy, Vera, Melissa, any other comments before we get into today's topic? Peggy?
So what I did last night was I checked out I've never used the whiteboard, and I've never used the any of the annotation things. So I checked it out and I said, they work. But yesterday we were just ending a 16-week training program. And yesterday was the last of the sessions. And today is the third section of the last day. But I kept thinking, we have this exercise where we say, what are your bragging rights? What did you accomplish that you didn't know you could, and all of that. And I used to put it kind of in the middle, but I decided to start it out this time. I decided to get all the voices in the room and break them up into small groups and have them talk about those, and then bring it back and just everyone pick out their 2 top bragging points, and everybody shared it. And it totally changed the tenor of that whole ending and beginning, because it is an ending and it's a beginning, right? So you were sitting on my shoulder saying, bring all the voices into the room.
Well, I love that, and it was interesting when I decided to call this one the Reconnecting Workspaces. I was hoping that people would also make the connection to last summer's Standout Virtually 5-day challenges. So last year I did a series of 3 5-day challenges. First one last August was Stand Out Virtually. So really getting into like all these elements. Then we turned to look more at the business component, which is some of what I'm going to share today. And then later in the year, it was one called Power Up. So I'm thinking of doing something quite similar now with Reconnecting Workspaces. So stay tuned, because I probably will do an early October and then a December challenge as well, if you've enjoyed coming back sort of day after day after day, which I think for some of us, myself included, I like that rhythm of having a focus for a week versus showing up twice a month for something.
And I like the fact that you can only do it at 8:30 in the morning, because that's a perfect time for me. Actually, 8 would be better, but
well, I was
8:30
just
is
thinking
okay.
8 o'clock. You know what? It's so interesting. About 10 minutes ago, I was on another call and I was like, what am I going to do for the next one at 8 a.m.? Well, it's not ideal for everyone. It's actually really good for me. So I might do the next one even earlier. Hope you can join us, Vera.
Yeah, that's early, but I'm making it work, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's 7:30 here in Chicago. So
Well, yeah, I'm 6:30, so I'm on mountain time. So
Vera, any reflections before we drop into today's themes?
yeah, I mean, the big one for me is really the spark for me was just bringing voice, like Deborah was saying and Peggy was saying, bringing all the voices in, but from a really grassroots perspective, and trying to get voices from the kind of not just the senior leadership team. And I had I called it a jam session yesterday, and I wasn't sure how many people would show up. And I had about way more than I thought. So I think it was probably about 15 people, and we were just brainstorming ideas on how to celebrate coming back to the office. And it was really great because there was only one senior leader, well, 2, I guess, one partner and one senior leader. The rest were, non-leaders, I guess, let's call it. And it was really awesome because we had 3 different cities there represented, and people that don't normally work together. And it was really fun. So they kind of a fun kind of prompt at the beginning just to kind of get people to know each other. And there were some amazing ideas, things that I hadn't thought of, thank goodness, because I'm running out of ideas. So I'm really excited. I'm doing another one today for another group of employees. So it was really good. And just the whole ground up and getting people connected, I think is really, yes, it's important to have people at leadership be connected and but it's really important to connect people at the bottom so that they feel that they're part of something. And and activate some of these ideas that they have, and so that they're part of the community. So what you were saying about people get motivated by community and belonging, I think is really, really important right now.
I think it's super important. And, you know, some of you may know what the early part of my career, right? My initial work was as a community activator. That was what I did for the global sector. You know, I was mostly in my early 20s and mid 20s, like in the communities. And when I did my grad work, I focused on the role of Canadian NGOs in grassroots development, because my whole belief in at least affecting change has been it's got to be bottom up, right? Like, yes, we need strong leadership, but we really, if we don't engage the masses, you're not going to affect change. And it is, you know, to look back at the work I was doing throughout the 90s and early 2000s, seeing projects that even through the pandemic have continued to thrive, whether it was HIV/AIDS peer education, whether it was some of the work that I did in Central America, up near the Nicaraguan border, actually, which, you know, was post Nicaraguan revolution, which for some people that doesn't mean anything, but there were like tens of thousands of people, including women, that had crossed the border from Nicaragua into Costa Rica in those days. And these women, you know, pretty much were trying to figure out, how do I sustain my family? Amazing micro enterprise, micro business started. If you look at, you know, the success story of Costa Rica in terms of tourism and everything, you know, there's a lot, if you go to the north end of the country, you'll see a lot of women run businesses that are now well entrenched. You know, this is like 30 years in, but, you know, all of this was on the foundation of grassroots development. You know, how do you really trickle it up? And I think in terms of the economics, as my career progressed, obviously, you know, moving more into the realm of policy analysis and macroeconomics, but, you know, that's what we're going to need in a post-pandemic economy. It's not just, you know, business government decision. It's like we all have to get engaged. And so as coaches, I think we are the frontline community conversationalists. And my hope is that this will span out in many ways. So with that,
I wish you would do a 5-day challenge on that for coaches, because I feel that our group of coaches could make such a difference if we got into the communities. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, well, there are lots of coaches who do, right? And so again, the Converge ICF conference, I'm thinking now, like, how can I use that as a platform, right? Not just for my business, but for, you know, affecting change, because part of Converge this year is also bringing the coaching world together to help start addressing and playing an active role in how do we, like, what do we do? What can we do? And so my contribution obviously is like reconnecting workspaces, but the workspace is also the family space. It is the community space as well. So to get us warmed up, we'll just do a little quick word search from Reconnecting Workspaces. I love word searches. So we're going to use annotation again, and I'll get you to just find 2 or 3 words out of this list. You'll find them up and down across the page. You'll find them left to right. Once you see them, highlight them. So you'll use your annotate pen function, or you can use a thick marker. And Melissa, we haven't brought your voice in yet. So can I get a quick check in? How are you doing today?
Oh, hi, everyone. I'm so excited not to have anything going on except this meeting right now. And can y'all hear me?
Yep.
We can hear you, yes.
Okay, good, because I had a little freezing there. And the other thing I'm excited about is what you're offering, Jennifer, and also what everybody else is offering here, because I find it very inspiring to be with women leaders. And I'm excited because I can bring a lot of these ideas from my book that I published a year ago, and I've been invited to give some big webinars with, you know, anywhere from 80 to 300 people. So that's a challenge to me on how to connect all of these voices. And they are people on the ground, speech language pathologists and graduate students. So this is so inspiring to me. Thank you to everyone.
Well, thank you for being here this week in this ongoing evolution of just like pull it together. I'm just building it out every day. But something like this, to Melissa's, you know, point of virtual engagement as well. What do you do when you have 300 people on the line? How do you bring their voices in? And so this last year, I've been really experimenting. And one thing that some people really like are the word searches, right? You could create one. So if you head on over to thewordsearch.com, you could take whatever topic you're working around and actually create your own board, which is sort of fun because it's then branded for you. So Peggotty for you with, divorce coaching. Vera for you, whether it's an internal or an external lens. Deborah for you in your work of equity and inclusion, and certainly for you, Melissa, you could take parts of your book and create your own branded one. So definitely check it out. But I like it because it's a way to just bring, a different focus, a bit more of that playful focus. And you've probably been tracking every day this week, right? We had the visuals, we've had icons, we've done journaling prompts, and now this. So these are all just different ways to bring people into the room. So I'm going to just take a screen share of this just to remind us. We don't have to finish the board, but it's just a quick way to bring everyone in.
It grabbed our attention.
I grabbed your attention, right? It's like you're focused, you're here, you're present, and you're not thinking about something else. And that's what we want with a great energizer, engager. So I heard you reflecting on this. We left off with that claims framework, right? I moved pretty quickly through it. So I just wanted to pick up this piece, but even in our conversation, right, we've been zooming into how many people are motivated by community, and whether that is community to affect change, community to engage, community to connect, the learning, the autonomy, the impact, the monetary, and the status. And when you're working with a team, certainly you'll want to be thinking about how do you help people realize what their drivers are, right? Because we're all driven by different things. My language around community so if we layer it on with even many of you use, say, a DISC, an MBTI, or even strengths, we'll typically come in with that lens. So if I was looking at it through a DISC, I'm, a driver. I'm a DI. Okay, so me, I like to get results done, but I'm also about having sort of some fun as we go. If I'm sitting down at a business meeting and I want to make sure that we're affecting some change, I can't just come in with my grassroots development, which is what I did for 20 years. I have to come in and really start talking about impact, or I might need to start talking about profitability, the monetary piece. Or for some colleagues, I might need to really activate their need for being seen and their ego. So in the remote virtual space, one of the most important skills beyond intentionality, I do believe, is also influence. Really, how do we influence people for the good? Influence. So how do we influence people? And part of it is using these levers, is helping them or helping you notice, what are they listening for? Is it a CEO or a CFO who's listening for profitability? Is it someone who is really listening more for status? Is it someone who's listening to learn or to really be equipped so that they can work in an autonomous fashion? So think through with your work, which of these are going to help you adjust and pivot your message? Because today is the business of teams. So what is the message you want to get out? And how might shifting it through the lens of one of these 6 areas make your message that much more powerful? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's, it's part of that influence piece. So Peggotty, what are you thinking right now?
So I was thinking, oh, definitely impact. And then I went, no, wait a minute. We have a lot of attorneys that come through our course that want that want autonomy, that want greater autonomy, but to be involved. And then we've got a whole bunch of people that really want learning, right? I mean, they're really learning, and what they talk about that they get from the course is community. So it's hard to say.
So again, different people will hear the different messaging, right?
Yep.
They have the same thing, but 5 different sound bites, 6 different sound bites to each of those. Yeah. So keep that in mind, because building a business case, it really is just about, taking that and putting it in a language that people are hearing. So today I want you to think about who you want to serve, or who is your person that you're working with, because you're going to have a bit of field work over the weekend if this is of interest. And your field work over the weekend is to really get clear on what are people looking for in your area, whether it is, you know, the claims, which one of these areas, and what are they needing? Are they needing a retreat? Are they needing a jam session? Are they needing a conversation on how do we scale our impact? Are they needing simply to come together and reconnect? So I wanted to just spend a minute highlighting what are some of the benefits to the work that you're doing right now. Let's just use annotation, and on the screen, grab your text function and just share one of the benefits you're seeing in your work right in this moment. Give us 2 or 3 words, adjectives to describe the benefits of what you could bring into the workspace right now to your ideal client. So what would you bring? And it might be more than 1 or 2 words. All right, let's go through. So I can see giving people a voice. Who was that?
Not figure out how to type, and that's my finger. I'm so sorry. Putting that down. It's like
It's early. It's early, Melissa. It's okay.
I got language, but that was it from that.
the first word is common language, like giving
Common
people
language.
this common language. And I think that's, and I Deborah, you might have found this, but just being able to agree on what we mean by what we say, and having this community. Actually, community is the other thing common language brings about. So I think the support is really important.
Yeah. And notice right above you, who put the helping people feel like they belong.
Yes.
Yeah. Vera, you want to say anything more about that?
Well, I just think that's so critical, especially we're working at home and we're disconnected already physically. So people really need to feel like they're back to the community piece. People need to feel they're part of the community. I think it's a huge motivator for people.
Yeah.
Especially the young people, like especially people coming in and they're younger and they want to work for an organization that provides them with something more than just a way to pay their bills. They really want to feel like they're part of something bigger and that they belong to that and they see their piece in that.
Yes, exactly. And that's where I said, you know, opportunity to connect and think about us, right? Like it's the we, it's no longer just me and my home, but there is an us. There's a culture, as we talked about, there's an identity that people have as well. So, okay, let's go to the courage, hope, agility.
So many of the people that I work with are people that are going out into becoming entrepreneurs for the first time. And you know, some of them have some fixed ideas about how it should be. And so, and they also feel somewhat of a what's it called, that they're not really up to the task. Or that maybe other people will be successful, but not them, right? Imposter syndrome is what I'm thinking. And so, you know, having agility and hope, you know, you know, just, I think being an eternal optimist is a good thing.
I wish I could see you, Megan.
And courage to talk with strangers, because, you know, when you get out there, you know, you never know what you're going to discover. And I dropped myself into a group the other day of perfect strangers from all around the world. And I got an email from one of them afterwards saying, I'd like to talk with you about coaching. I never talked about coaching. They saw it in my email signature, right? So,
Well,
it was funny.
Enjoyed it, right? They just enjoyed the conversation, and that's what people want. So who put the red? Who had the red non-handwriting? Courage to talk, confidence, hope, and agility. I think those are so important right now. Yeah. Was that yours, Deborah, or whose was it now? Good word.
Those were mine.
Oh, those were yours. Okay, okay.
That's what I was just talking about.
Oh, that was what you were just talking about. Like, yeah, the agility. I have to say the agility piece, so key, right? How do we help that? And again, perspectives, reconnection. I put a pause point and a reflection time as well. So
Mhm.
another little piece. We've just only got about 5 more minutes left in our call, but I'll take a little screenshot on this. One other thing I wanted to get you thinking about, if I can clear this screen here. Let's go. It's Friday. My brain has started to really slow down. I can just stop the share. It's always the easiest. Just stop the share and bring it forward. Now to see which slide deck I'm in. I'm in this one. Okay. So we talked about that. I'd really like you this weekend to think about what you are offering, right? Like, what is it that you're taking out? Is it the retreat? Is it a conversation lab? Is it team coaching? Is it group coaching? Is it one-on-one for leaders? Think about what you have to offer. And out of that listing, then come up with some of the benefits. If you had to sort of identify 4 to 6 benefits for each one of the modalities, what would you say? And like blue sky this, right? Make it a draft. That's why these slides are pretty blank. I just wanted to sort of give some space so that you can be thinking about what can this look like, sound like. One thing that I think a lot of people are really want to put a lot of time around, which we haven't talked about today, is just, contracting issues. Once you do get into a phase of actually being able to nail down some work, what are some of the issues that you want to discuss? And so there is on today's worksheet, not only what do you have to offer, what are the benefits, but also contracting issues. How do you want to set this up? What's essential? If you're coaching, how do you maintain that confidentiality, etc.? So I'll have this uploaded by probably 11:30. I've got a couple groups back to back. I'll see if I can get it up around 10, but just do a hand sketch right now for those 5 questions. It's just one worksheet this weekend. And Vera, I'm going to get your digital copy off today of your day 1 prize. What I'll be doing for day 4 is doing another draw. I'll actually do the digital Sparker cards, some of which we used yesterday in the fall. So as we go to wrap up, put in chat, what is one of your top takeaways for today's call? What is your top takeaway?
And thanks for the book, Jennifer. I'm super excited. I'll start reading it this weekend. I'm camping, and it's raining, so I've got time.
What I'm excited about for you is when you asked yesterday about the models, I was like, oh my gosh, now Vera's going to have the book, so she can just read about all these.
That's so awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. So in chat, what's your takeaway from today? Just let us know one thing.
I can't type.
It's Friday.
Jennifer, my book comes today.
Yay. All right, Miss Deborah, I'm excited.
Mine too. 10 o'clock tonight, they said it would be
10 o'clock
delivered.
tonight. Well, take a photo of it as you open it up. And I'd like to share that. I really love seeing people reading this. And
Oh, okay.
Yeah, take a photo of you reading it or you opening it or whatever. Claim framework. I'm glad you like that. Yeah, I like it too. And people get it, right? Melissa, tools for gathering 300 voices into the conversation. Awesome. Deborah, what was your takeaway?
As I said yesterday, this just gets bigger and bigger.
And I know that's stimulating for you, not overwhelming, right?
Yeah, it's just, the business of teams, when I looked at this, I'm like, this is a whole other discipline.
It's a whole other discipline. And just know that I will be doing more around this fall. So I'll see you Monday. Monday's theme is going to be good. It's going to be talking about our hybrid toolkit, our hybrid team toolkit.
I gotta go.
Okay, yeah, I gotta go too. So I'm gonna get you to leave because I got a group outside.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Have a
See you
good
Monday.
weekend.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.